He was desperate not to know things. He'd go for weeks sailing along. He'd say, heights ain't shit till you look down. Look, I was married to the man. One of those men. I love him, and really, I loved them all, and I wasn't afraid of any of them. You can't imagine the gentleness. He's gone now, and I can't imagine it anymore. The man could even shout gently. He'd become terrified of what he thought as his cruelty. He said he loved me, and I said I knew it. He said he knew he was hurting me, and I said I didn't feel it that way. And the girls, he insisted he'd hurt them, and if he stayed with it, and he did sometimes, relentlessly, he could put himself in a real state. He'd stand there, and a howl would come from his mouth, and no one who ever heard him talk or sing would believe that that sound came from that mouth. It did. I didn't say it, but no matter the state, the truth is, the man couldn't have hurt a fly that is outside of himself. I'd tell him to be easy on himself, and he'd nod. He'd say he loved me. He'd say it again, and I'd tell him I know it. He'd say it again, and I'd say, I'm convinced. Who else are you trying to convince? And he'd nod. But sooner or later, his head would begin to shake, and if there weren't already, tears would begin to drip off the tip of his nose. The man lived on the verge of tears, on the ledge.